My name is Gail Nichols Ali. I absolutely love photography. My dad was an amateur photographer. I used to go in his closet when he was out of town. My husband and I were in the Bahamas when the fire started. We saw on television the fire had kind of taken over. My son, he showed us a live view of what was happening. I just screamed at that point, and my husband was in another room, and he ran in and said, "What happened?" And I said, "We've lost everything." After we came to grips with that, people started reaching out to each other in Altadena. We're having this Facebook, Instagram experience. They were giving instruments to musicians, and I reached out to Brandon Jay and I said, "Is there anybody doing that for the photographers and the artists in the community?" And he said, "No, you do it." And I said, "Me?" And he said, "Yeah, you do it." And so I said, "All right." And I just went to work. And then Altadena photographers started to blow up. People were like, "Hey, you're back. Like, I've got some cameras for you." 90% of the time, I would either drive around town to pick up cameras and then people coming here to drop it off. And then we decided there was so much equipment to have a camera show. We got the camera show set for October 25th, 2025. We gave away over 150 cameras. A lot of folks were just wanting to get a memory back, a piece of history that they had that was gone in the fire that they could restore. It was an amazing crowd of people that I see all the time. And the funniest thing is they say, "Hey, you were at that vintage camera show." I'm like, "Yeah." Altadena photographers. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the founder." They don't, because I didn't make a big ego play of it at all. It was more about the community and more about getting people to feel closer to coming back to Altadena, to visualizing it, to photographing it.
My name is Marcus Ubungin. I'm a photographer and I lost my house in the Altadena fire last year. I would go up and check on our lot, sift through debris, and then I would just spend the sunsets there looking for a shot a few times a week. And that was kind of what started the whole thing, was actually taking portraits of my neighbors first. I had lost my 8x10 camera in the fire, but the company that makes that camera, Arca Swiss, gifted me a new one. And photographers on Instagram, internet, and people I knew, they donated 8x10 film, which is really expensive. And so I committed every sheet to Altadena. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do my regular portraiture stuff anymore. It's all dedicated, each one, to Altadena, because I felt like it just sort of had to be. You see all this stuff on the news, like earthquakes, all these natural disasters, and then in 2 weeks, it's just like the news has moved on, right? It's more than just a news story, that it was like a place that had community and that people really loved. Gail actually found me because she was starting Altadena Photographers. And so I'm really grateful for her because these prints were really like her idea. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And so she said, let's do a group show. And I said, okay, I'll do 3 prints. And she helped find vendors to help frame and print. And because of that, sort of gave me like more confidence and more motivation and just to keep going, right? Like this could be more than just what you see on your phone. Every single portrait you see back here, they all lost their homes. And so there's always a story that we can only relate to each other about, but then also we can air out our like frustrations, our kind of like emotions together, and we get it. We don't have to over explain anything. And so that's been really fulfilling and rewarding too. It's just not just creating the photos, but then getting to meet more neighbors and connecting with them. And then like having community events like this,